Okay. Good morning, everyone. Are you able to hear me well? Good morning. Okay. Good morning, Love, Samir, Jayashree, Kalpana, and good morning, Lopita. Okay. Thank you, Sagar, and a very good morning and a good, I believe it's good afternoon and good evening for others in other locations. Okay. Okay, friends. So I think we have. So hope you all had a nice Diwali and back after that. So moving on, friends. So this week we will try to complete the 4 more modules what we have left over. So this week we will take it up all 4 modules and we will see how far we can go on with all those 4. Okay, so did you all try practicing the assignments? What was given there, and did you try, everyone? Okay, that's great. So, friends, rather than like I can explain to you everything and things. So, for that information to get registered with you, you should try out that practically. So, that is my kind advice to you all. Like, please work out the assignments. So, when you start working on the assignments individually, at that point of time, you will get enough confidence to build the dashboards and work on with this. So Tableau is a tool, it's a simple tool. The only thing is just you need to practice more. So if you practice more, automatically you can build visualizations. And we are, from this module onwards, we are going to see more of advanced concepts. So you should be in a position to do something basic. So for that, these assignments are going to help you out. So I kindly request you all to please do the assignments for those modules individually, friends, and take up with this. That should really help you out. Okay, so back to this module. So here we are in the module 6 here. Friends, for any questions on any of the topics, please stop me then and there. So in some of your feedbacks, I'm able to, not many, in one or few of the feedbacks, I'm able to see like I was not able to understand this concept. So rather than be waiting until giving you the feedback the next day, so I'm getting the concept clarified, you stop me then and there. If you're not getting anything, please ask me to repeat that again. So that would be the right approach to move on. So I'm okay, even if it's taking some more time also, I'm okay with that because I can cope up with some more extra classes as well. So the only thing is I want you all to understand the concepts, friends. So friends, those who are not understanding anything in the middle, please stop me then and there. Is this fine, Kalpana? Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we will move on with this, friends. So we saw the polygon maps the last class. We tried creating a polygon visualization, and I explained you what the point ID, what this polygon ID is about, and how to create that. Now coming on to this part. Okay, so here this is the question what our CEO was trying to ask us. So he is saying the maps which we have created, the background is very boring because we just have only 2 maps, right? So it seems like the background is very boring for them. So he wish to have a different map other than the normal ones which are provided by Tableau. So how do you think we can build this, friends? Any ideas? Those who have already worked with this tool, do you have any ideas of it? Okay. So we are going to see about that concept today, friends. So we'll connect to the existing global superstore itself, the data set what we were working the last week for the math. We will use the global superstore, and as soon as I go, there is a map options which is coming. Oh, okay. Okay. Shweta was trying to open the Tableau TWBX using that link. Shweta, what I would recommend is, for now, you may not be able to open it with Tableau Public. So what I would suggest is, Shweta, once you activate your Tableau desktop license, because even I'm having that data set as a TWBX only, I don't have it copied. The other way is, you can just, maybe I can just give you the data set directly. So the data set whatever we are having for the polygon maps, even I'm having it as a TWBX format only. So the only option is to open it through Tableau desktop. So if you are not able to open it through Tableau public, I would recommend you to wait for some more time. So after we are done with this module and once your assignment starts, you will be able to open that data sets and you can work on that. I think that should work for you. So, or else the other option is just to replicate the data whatever we are having in the form of Excel sheet. Maybe that option, I think we can try that out. Let me see if I can take that in the form of an Excel sheet. I'll let you know. Or the other way is to get it through this Tableau desktop. Once you are done activating your Tableau desktop license, you can open it. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Sagar, the global superstore should be there in module 2 of your data set. You should be able to see this global superstore under your module 2 there. So I think the global superstore is on your module 2, you should be able to find it. Friends, is it right? Is it from module 2 you all download this global superstore? Yeah, Sagar, that's right. So you can open it from module 2 of this data set, and there you can download the data set file. There you should be able to find this. Okay, friends. So now to start with, like what we will do, we'll go to this mapping option, and there is something called background maps. We will see about that. Yeah, sure, Sagar, you can just connect to that. So for now, dataset doesn't matter. You can connect to whatever dataset you have. So that is fine. We just are going to see some options within the map. Okay. And there is something called background maps there. Can you see here? Whenever I am giving this background map, there are three things which is coming. One is the Tableau, which is checked by default, which means I am using a Tableau specific maps here. And there is one more map called offline maps. So offline is something where the additional features, I showed you about the street and the US demographics, and also I showed you about the population growth in US and those details, right? So those things will not come if we are in offline mode. In offline mode, it's like offline working. So that we are not going to use. And there is something called map services. Can you see here, friends? There is something called map services, what I can use. So this map services is nothing but a WMS service, web mapping service of Tableau. So in our earlier visualizations, whatever we were using normal Tableau's visualization. So I'll just take a country field or a geographical dimension. Let me take that and let me show you that in a map. Okay. So this is a normal view, friends. Whatever we are seeing, it's a normal view. I'm just changing into a filled mask, kind of a polygon kind of mask. So each and every region is showing it in a different color. I'm taking the profit, adding the profit to colors. So profit has been added to color, and we have the countries here. Based on the profit, the countries are showing up here. Okay. So that's what we are doing. Now what we shall do is, friends, now we will take up this, we will go to this map, and I will go to this background map, and I will choose a map service. I want a different map here. I don't want to use the same map. So for this, what is there are a couple of mapping service providers. So one mapping service provider is TMS, Tableau Mapping Source. The .tms expands to Tableau Map Source. So what we do here, I'm selecting this map, friends, WMS for GBCO.global bathymetric grids.tms. I'm clicking on open here, and as soon as I click on open, can you see here, there is a URL which comes there. I'm going to share this URL with you all, friends. Okay. You are going to add this mapping service to your Tableau if you can add to. I'm not sure if you all can do that in Tableau Public, but you can give it a try. Okay. I have just pinged you all, friends. So this is the mapping service, what you all can take. Okay. So instead of adding this way, what I can do is I can just delete this. I'm going to show you one more way of adding the map. Okay. So let's add it the other way. Can you see here, it gives me add, when I'm clicking add, and it's asking me WMS servers. So I'm just typing this URL, whatever I pinged you. I'm just adding that URL to this link, and I'm going to click on OK here. Friends, you all can hear me well, I believe, right? So seems to be some issue with Lopita's screen. Okay. Okay. Okay, friends. So here the thing what I wanted to show you all is, and you see, as soon as I added this URL, I'm going to click on close, and now when you see the map, can you see that how my map is looking? So it is having some basic details, and it's going to be a different map rather than the one what we saw earlier. This is going to be something different map. You can just see that oceans and some of the other places, it's in a darker shade, and we are able to see this map in a different view there. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go to this map option. Sorry, not this map options, I'm going to go to this map layer. Can you see here? Here we don't have any data layer as we saw for Tableau maps. The data layer in terms like the street, the light, the city, the coastlines, other things we are not able to see. We are able to, what we are able to see is, this is what we can see that. So we can just change the map layers like this. So this is something like a latest one. So the latest one is looking very similar to Tableau. So that is the latest one what they have. And there is some more mapping, that is GBCO latest 2 and 08 grid. They have something like this. And the other maps are quite similar in nature except the first one. So nothing new here. So I'm just selecting the first one again. You can just see that how it's working. So all other maps are looking like one and the same. So this is what it is. You can just change the washout percentage and these things alone. But other than that, you don't have much here to change. Not much options to change here. You can just see that. So to what level the washout has to be there and things you can set it here. Okay, friends, you all got this, how to add a web mapping service. Yes. Yeah, no problem, Lokita. I'm just repeating that to you all once again. So how about you, Kalpana, Jayashree, are you all able to get me? Okay. Sure, friends. I'm just repeating for a few others. Okay. So here if you see, what we need to do is I don't want my default Tableau map. Instead of the web link does not open at my end either in Safari or Chrome. Okay. Sagar, you need not open that web link. I'll tell you. You just see if you can add that web link to your mapping. Okay. So I'm just taking it here, going to this background map. And can you see here, friends? Earlier we just saw only Tableau was there, and I'm clicking on this Tableau map. Do you see that my the earlier map got replaced there? They're just using that. So this is nothing but a Tableau mapping service, friends, what we are going to use. Okay. So how to add this service? So in order to add this service, first what I need to do, I just need to select the, first I just need to go to this background map and click on this mapping service. I'm going to delete this mapping service, okay, what we have added. WMS service we call them as web mapping service. I'm going to click on add, and I'm going to say I need to add a web mapping server. So each and everything which is appearing in Tableau Maps, friends, I told you Tableau has its internal repository, it has its internal service. For each and everything, Tableau uses a web mapping service called Web Marketer. I told you during the initial session that Google also uses the same mapping service provider. So that is this one only. So the one what Tableau was using earlier, we were seeing that. Now we are going to add one more mapping service to that. So I'm getting on this web mapping service and pasting the URL whatever I pinged you. I'm pasting the same URL, gbco.net/data and products. Okay. I'm clicking on OK here. As soon as I clicked on OK, you will be able to see there is a change in my background map. And I'm going to close this window, and you can see my entire mapping view got changed here. Now I can make use of this mapping service. So this is the mapping service Prajakti. I'm just sending it to you all once again. Okay. So this is the URL what I used, friends. You all can try with this URL and just share that once again, as some of you haven't got that earlier. So this is what we see. It's just a change in the background of the existing map, and we are able to see how that map is looking now and how things are. The remaining options are the same, except like you will not be able to see any data layers to the maps and do other things. And once you go to this map service now under the background maps, by default, the new mapping service what we have added, that will get displayed there for us. Not the existing one. The new mapping service what we have added, that gets enabled. Okay, there is a rectangular patch which is different from the other boxes. So which rectangular patch you are saying, Kalpana? Is this within this mapping, or where are you referring to? This one, right? This one, right? Correct. So yeah. So here if you see there is a gap between one map and the another one. So this is the default mapping service what we were using, and if you see it's not giving us a single view for everything. This is nothing but it's going to be the same map only. It is just having a rotational view. So that's why there is a rectangular patch what Kalpana is referring. I'm just trying to drag this away. Can you see here? As soon as I drag this the other side, it is actually showing me the same map there. So it's like I think they are trying to give a 360-degree view of this map. But if you don't require the 360-degree view, you can just hide that like this. Rectangular patch. Oh, okay. You can just try scrolling like this, friends. If you do not want to see that rectangular patch, you can just scroll that map like this and see how that is looking. I think after that, the rectangular patch might get removed for you. For me, it is coming. So I just scrolled it the other side. Okay, friends. So now we are done with this background maps. We'll just see what are the things that they have. So web mapping service. So a web mapping service is a standard protocol for serving over the internet. So for all geo-referenced mapping images. So for any maps, if you see, there are various mapping service providers. So in order to use the particular map, we need to make use of those mapping service providers, so that that mapping service provider is being used for your Tableau. So what does mapping service providers do? They give us the geographical information, and they capture the details, the country, the states, and those details they capture, and they put it in a map. Okay. So what is the mapping service what Tableau connects? So Tableau by default connects to a mapping service called WebMarketer. So this basically for referencing the geographical data, we are using this WebMarketer. So whenever you wanted a default maps, we can make use of this service. That's what. So this is how we add that. Go to this background map, mapping service, and just add the new mapping service. And as and when you add that, you will be able to see a new image for your maps there. And there are, if you go to the mapping layers, you can just change the mapping layers to something else. Okay. So once the server is added to the workbook, it is saved with the workbook and is available to anyone whom the workbook is shared. For example, if you are going to share this workbook with any of your colleagues or in your system friends, you need to save it in TWBX format. After you save it, the connection information and these things get saved there. So after this service is saved, WMS service, you can also save it in your Tableau mapping source. As a Tableau mapping source, you can save it, and you can connect to the workbooks also. So you can just save it as a workbook also, so that you can directly connect it. I'll show you how to save this as a Tableau mapping source. So we just added this, right? We just added this mapping source into the background maps. I'm just going to this mapping service. Can you see here? There is an option of export. So after I'm clicking on this export option, friends, you can see that automatically it is going to my folder where my Tableau installation is there, and it goes to a folder called map sources. I can basically click on save so that this mapping source gets saved there. Since I already have it, I'm just replacing it once again. So once I go to that location, go to this map, go to the background map, click on the mapping service and click on export. After you export that in your location where your map was saved, you will be able to see that. Can you see here WMS for GBCO bathymetric.com, which just saved now 727A, what we saved now. That is available for us now. So this, like this, you can export the existing web map service to the particular location, and you can save that also. Okay, Manigandan has a question. Do we have any other service website where we can download? Yeah, Manigandan, most of them are paid ones, and the few of the ones what I'm just showed you now, that is one which we have it as free. Maybe we can Google it out and see. There are websites where you can use any other mapping images and things. Obviously, the maps which are more attractive and more intuitive, that would be charged. The basic maps, they might give it for free, like the one what we just saw now. So most of the cases that would be. So we can make use of the other services also that is available. Okay, and we have one more question from. Okay, what is the performance level if we can use which mapping service in the web? So actually, Jayashree, there is no specific performance things what we see it in the map. It's more about the options what you get. See, when I'm using this mapping service, the number of options I get is very limited here. See, here we just can change to other maps, and there is no data layers that is available, and these things are not available by default. So in terms of performance, they do not affect Tableau in any way because it's going to get saved in your own workbook only. If you are having enough storage space in your workbook, you can just make use of this and you can just open that. So it's not going to cost you that much space also. It is like 1 KB, 2 KB only, each and every mapping source file. Even if you see, this is the TMSD, Tableau's default map, which is 2 KB because it has some more features. So in terms of performance, absolutely friends, Tableau is, in terms of performance aspect, it's absolutely not a problem with Tableau. The only thing is the amount of features what we get. In this background map, when you see that there is other features that are there, I can just check on this Tableau by default. If you see, I will get even more features now. So in terms of when I'm going to this map layer, can you see here? I see the coastline, the streets, and other things. More options I'm getting, and also I just need to zoom in more to see the more data layers which are there for this map. So on a country level, there is not much, no data that is there. So maybe here we can just see that the age, the male and the female ratio, these things you can just categorize and differentiate. So these features might not be there on the other maps. So the only thing is in performance there will be absolutely no impact. Only thing is in terms of additional features we might get from one service to another. Okay, this option we generally don't use this Jayashree. So when we would be using this option more is, for example, if your customer is having, so they don't prefer Tableau specific maps. And for example, assume that your customer is a global client there, they are across all locations. So what they have done is they have already purchased the mapping service with any one of the mapping service providers. So they don't want to see that specifically in Tableau specific format. They would like to see it in a different background image. They would like to have a different mapping service provider. At that point of time alone, we generally go for this. So in other cases, we generally don't go for this. Only thing is if a business requirement comes and your business partner or the customer wants to see it in a different view and they have purchased the license for that point of time we go for this. Okay friends, so if this is clear for everyone. Okay. Okay friends, moving on with the next part of this, we are just going to see something about the background images. Okay, so what is this background images? Friends, have you all seen this metro route map? So in whatever country you are there, you would have seen this metro route map, right? So the route map, whatever we are generating, this particular route map, friends, we can generate in Tableau also. The route map, whatever you are seeing here, this particular route map we can create in Tableau as well. So for this, what is required? just a background image is required. So once this image is ready, and I need latitude and longitude information for this image. So as I told you, each and every place what you see it in the route map, everything belongs to a particular latitude and particular longitude information, correct? So every place whatever you are seeing, that belongs to a particular latitude and a particular longitude. So what we will do here is, we will take this map, okay? We will take this map and we will take an image of this map. I think this image should be available in your sample data set download. So the main purpose of doing this is to add a custom imaging based on background mapping it, creating a map based on a background, creating some route maps there. So, okay, so this is what we are going to do, friends. We are going to create a map using Tableau. Okay, so for that we will go step by step. First, what we will do is, I am going to a new sheet here. And first, before going to a new sheet, I just need to locate where that particular file folder is there. Okay. Let me go here. Okay. Okay, so I have this image with me, friends, in this location. This Hong Kong MRTS, this is the metro route map of Hong Kong. So I just have this saved somewhere in my local system. Okay, what I will do is, I will say to Tableau that I am going to use this image there. So before using this image, I would like to see the properties of this image. So what are the properties of this image? So the dimensions are 840 by 623. So width is 840, height is 623 pixels. Okay. So why I need this information? I'll tell you why I need this information now. I'm just going to this map options, and there is something called background images. And as soon as I click on this background images, it is asking me to which data set I need to associate this image. I'm saying you associate with this global superstore. Okay, and what I'm doing is, I'm just, a window gets opened as soon as I clicked on this background images. I'm just repeating it once again, friends. See here, go to this map. As you went to background map, you go to background images here. There is something called background images. Click on this background image and click on add image. So I have kept this in my local system, so I'm just going to save this image somewhere from there. So what I would do is, I'm just going there to this folder and I'll be opening that Hong Kong MTR.png. This image I'm opening. Can you see this? As soon as I open that image, it is asking me like these details. It has loaded my background there, and it is basically asking me my quantities. In X field what you wanted, in Y field what you wanted, and the other fields what is that you are going to use here from this left and right. What are you going to use? It is basically asking me to map my fields there. So what I do here is, friends, I just map my X and Y columns. Okay, so here, friends, before I do that, I cannot load this for my existing data source. I need one more data source called Hong Kong MTR. Let me see if I'm having that data source. because this image cannot be embedded with my existing data source. Hong Kong MTR, let me check, or I have to download this data source if I don't have this already. Let me see if I'm having that data source already. Okay, let it get opened. We'll just give it a while. So in the meantime, I'm just searching for if I'm having this data set with me, friends. Do you all have this data set with you all, friends? This Hong Kong MTR dot this? Okay, I have this data set here in this folder. Okay, source data, sample data source. Okay. I'm having it here. Not sure if you all have this with you, friends. Yeah, it is there in module 6, right? Okay, yeah. So what we'll do is, friends, we cannot use the existing data source, what we were using it here, because it's asking us to associate the data source here. So for that, what I will do is I'll just close the existing thing. Let me open a new Tableau window, or let me add a new connection to this. I'm just going to this data. I'm going to add a new data source. It's going to be an Excel file which is located in this location. So friends, if you are all already having it, please connect to that data set, Hong Kong MTR coordinate.data.xls. Right? Let's first connect to that data source. So this is what we have it, friends. We have two coordinates. One is the X coordinate and the other one is the Y coordinate. And here basically I'm having a database of list of all stations here. So Island Line and Island Line, Central, Admiralty, Manchai. Like that, I'm having all the station names, and also I'm having the coordinates. What the coordinates are? The latitude and the longitude information. I'm having these two things which is available in my data source. Okay. Now what I will do, I will use this data source and I will associate an image for this data source. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to this background images, and it is asking to which data source you need to associate this image. I'm saying it is Hong Kong MRT. Manikandan, this data source is there in module 6 only, the same module what we are seeing now. We should be able to see this data source. Okay. So here what we will do is, friends, we will add an image now. Okay. So now I will locate that image where that image was available. So it is here in this folder. I have this Hong Kong MTR.png. I'm clicking on open, and it is basically asking me to point my left coordinates and the right coordinates. So which is going to be your x-axis, which is going to be your y-axis? You need to define that here. So which field is going to be your x-axis and which is going to be your y-axis based on my image here. See, in my image, if you see, my width is going to be 840 pixels. So my y-axis is going to be my width. My height is 623 pixels. So my x-axis is going to be 623. So this was my coordinate. Okay. So I just what I did now, just a recap for you all, friends. So here we just wanted to add a background image. So I just pulled that background image. I clicked on add an image. So I just browse that image, and like this a window comes there. So after this comes, you need to set your x and y axis there. Can you see here? X-axis is saying right side 840, y-axis is my height, x-axis is going to be my width. So what is the properties of my image? So this is my image. My x-axis is going to be 840, y-axis is going to be 623. So the same thing I need to enter it there in Tableau as well. So I'm saying my x-axis, the field, the coordinate field, my x-axis is going to be, what is my property? My x-axis is going to be 840. So I'm entering 840 pixels here. And my y coordinate is going to be 623 pixels. It's 623 pixels. So my x-axis is this and my y-axis is this. This is what my entire map looks like now. Okay. Now I'm going to click on OK here. So now as and when I did that, this Hong Kong MTR got added and it is saying required fields as x, y. So x and y coordinates are required for this image. So I'm just done with this line. Okay. So now what I'm going to see is I'm going to take up this station name and drop it in colors. Sorry, not station name. I'm going to drop the line name and drop it in colors. So there are two lines. One is the island line and the other one is Guangdong line. Okay. There are two lines what we are seeing there. Okay. Next comes your x coordinates and y coordinates. So x coordinates, what I'm doing, I'm taking it, dropping it here, and y axis, I'm taking it and dropping it here. And you see now what has happened? Now my image is shown here in a very small size, very small pixel. My image has been shown, and my x coordinate is by default has come with the points whatever I have mentioned. My y coordinates have come with the points, and here I am able to see there are two lines what I am able to see that. Okay. Now what I will do, this station, whatever stations that are there in the line, I'm just going to take the station and drop it in my details. Can you see, friends, what has happened now? What has happened now? As and when I took my station and dropped this in my details pane, can you see what has happened? I'm just going to pull this image a bit more down because I'm just having some space here. not able to do that. Okay, so you are all able to see this view, right? Perfect, right? Okay. So this is how my metro line image looks. I'm just zooming down a bit. Okay, it's too much. Okay, this should be good. Can you see here? There are two lines what I got here. So one, I'm able to see this quantum line which is coming in orange color, and this island line which is coming in this blue color. And you see here, it is basically showing me the coordinate points for individual stations. From where these coordinate points have been taken from? How come my Tableau knows this coordinate point, X is this much, Y is this? From where are we getting this information? Manikandan, Jayashree, Kalpana, Samir. From where are we getting this information from? Exactly. Exactly, Sagar, that's right. It's from the data source. So, where are we getting? But from our data source only, because in the data source only we have this information, right? You can see that here. The coordinates information is there, x-axis is this much, y-axis is this much, and this is the station name, this is the line name, what are the things that is there. Everything is coming from my data source. So what I did here, I took an image, okay, I took an image and I mapped that image to this data source. So how did I do the mapping? I set my x-axis and I set my y-axis. So automatically, based on the coordinate points, Tableau has determined my axis lines here, x and y axis, and it has added my image there, and also it has pointed out the individual routes in which they are traveling. So to make it bit more better, what I am going to do, I am just going to make it as a full circle. So there are two lines now. So I just want to change the color of this line in along with this green one also. So what I am going to do, I am just going to change the color of this line also. So there are two colors basically for this island line. So for this quantum line, I want a green color. And for the island line, I am fine with the existing blue color itself, so I am not changing it. I am clicking on apply and clicking on OK. Now can you see here my coordinate points got changed? Within that image, I am able to see like what is the station name and what is the coordinate points, where the station is located. All this information like a real map. Yes, the remaining lines what we are seeing here, Manikandan, they are just images only. Here, this is the pointers what Tableau has pointed. The remaining, the purple ones and the blue ones what you are seeing, they are mere lines only. But you can convert them, but how Tableau is working in the background, friends, what it is doing? It's not doing anything. Can you see here, if you carefully observe me, friends, for example, I want to add a coordinate point for this one, for this line. So here there is no coordinates for this red one, and for green alone we have just mapped it for now. So what I will do, I am just going to right click here, friends, and say annotate point. It is asking what to annotate with. I am saying you annotate it with this x and y axis. I am clicking on OK here, and you see what has happened. This point is now, it's saying this is the point which is having my x-axis as 431.4 and y-axis is 208.1. Yeah, I'll open this image in a different window separately, friends. So this is the image and this is the maps what we see. Can you see here? Earlier everything was an image, even this line what we saw now, this was an image and even this was an image, and you can just see now in our map how that is looking. This was an image there, this is how it is looking in our map now. So in our map, now that image, whatever points what we have shown, that have been converted as coordinate points. Is it possible to bring the yellow red thing to the right hand side? No, it is like you can, the image would be taken as nothing but it's like a graph only. So it's like a graph. So in this graph what we have done, we have just taken the coordinate points and we have basically mapped that coordinate point to a particular station name, that's it. So this is in which coordinate, this is what it is. So here we didn't have the data for these two lines, we just had the data for two of those lines, one is the island line and the other one is Swanton. Since we didn't have any data for this line, we were not able to see any rows for that. We just have two data only, one is for this island line and the other one is for this Swanton line. So that's why these two things are coming as it is as images and the remaining alone we are getting as data. So, Manikandan, now is this clear for you? How this is looking? Okay. Okay, friends. So, how about others here? Kalpana, Jayashree, or other Sagar? Prajakti, are you all able to get this, friends? Would you like me to repeat it once again? Okay, I can repeat it once again, friends. Okay, well, what is the left or right under axis, top, bottom and y axis? Okay, that is the axis name, Kalpana. So here if you see, what is top under, this is the axis name. This is our x-axis. So that is the axis name what we have got. You can just have a title differently if you want it. So you can just rename a title, something here. That's just the axis name here. Oh, Shweta is saying the data set what she has downloaded has only one data. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's nothing but we are just imposing the coordinates on the image front. So this image we are converting it in the form of a graph and we are mapping the coordinates and we are building out a data set on top of this. That's what we are doing. Okay, friends. So I think the data set what is there in this module 6 of yours, it seems to be there is an error in the data set. So I think that's what they are, you are not able to see that. What I will do is I will try uploading this coordinate data set today, friends, so that you all can use this. Okay. So, Sagar is asking, what is the purpose of showing these maps? Okay. The purpose of showing these maps is, Sagar, so for example, tomorrow when you are creating some visualizations, assume that you are working in a railway project or you are working for a airline industry or any other project where that particular customers have your images of the route what they wanted. They want to convert that image as a live visualization in terms like what is the route travel time between one station to another. If you want to represent that visually, and they wanted to use it as a coordinate mapping points and they wanted to make use of this in a form of maps. So this background images are something no other tool has in the market. So converting a background image as a map and then showing that as a particular visualization. So only Tableau is able to do it for now. So the main purpose of this map is to make sure that converting a background image into a form of a map. So how to use this? So this might be useful in certain advanced projects where customizations are required for your customers, where they would like to see the data on a real time and they would like to get it represented on a real time basis. They would like to see. So that's why instead of this coordinates, you can now have more fields also, right? I can just say like, what is something about this particular station? So what are the things? So what is the travel time between one station to another? You can just have one more record. And you can just add that travel time also, how long it will take from one station to another. Or like that, you can add more data to your data source and make it more intuitive. So for now, we just added it with the existing data set. So we are not able to see much changes, but this will be really useful when you are having more and more data. So that can create rather than seeing something as an image, when you are able to see that once you hover over this particular cursor, if you are getting like what is the travel time, so what is some speciality in this station, so what are the things that would be available here, so what are the nearest tourist spots in this place. If you would like to have that, you can have it in this data itself directly. So that is the advantage of showing that here. So analyze routes and optimizations and products and service. Yeah, exactly. You can just do that and you can make use of this map. That feature is also available in Tab. Okay, friends. So for others who didn't get this fully, I'm just repeating the steps once again, friends. See here, first what we did, we took this coordinates Hong Kong data source. We went to this mapping option. There is something called background images. I went there, I clicked on this coordinates Hong Kong. So in this background image, what I did, I just added my map image. Where my map was found, I just added that image. And one important thing what we need to do is, we need to map the coordinate points. For example, in my map, what is my width and what is my height? That Tableau cannot detect automatically. Maybe in newer versions they should have this feature also of detecting the image size automatically. So we have to manually enter the width and height here. This is one important thing. So width is 840 and height is 623. You will be entering that. You need to map what to what. I need to map my x coordinate of my data source with my x coordinate of the map, so of this image. So I'm just doing that and I'm clicking on OK here. And after I do that, I just took my line based on the color. I took my station and details and I dragged my x coordinate in columns and y coordinates in rows. Either I can just swap them and see that also. Yeah, I think no, that's the other way it was right. So after I added that, automatically my routes got mapped here. So how it is doing? It is basically in just taking each and every point, it is right clicking here and it is basically giving us the coordinate points there for that. So what are the coordinate points? This is the x and y axis. It is basically showing us that. So for example, this is the coordinate for this particular point. Like that, Tableau is basically converting the image as an online map. That is what Tableau is doing. Is this clear for everyone, friends? Any questions here? So one more option we didn't do, friends. So basically our image was not shown fully because of this option. So if you see here, we missed an option here from being done there. For example, if I'm just editing this image, friends, there is an option what I'm missing there. I'm just going to this coordinates Hong Kong data. I'm clicking here, I'm going to edit. And once I'm editing it, there is something called options here. And always show entire image is another option. So I'm just clicking on apply now, friends. And I'm clicking on OK. Again, OK. So whenever I'm dragging and dropping that image there, it should show that image in a full scale for me, so that it's not looking like something at a different point there. So that is one more option which we just left it, but it is fine. Yeah, Kalpana, when you have added the thing, it has shown you 28 null, you check your data source, click on this option in your dimensions, click on view data, and see if you are having data for all these options. It is basically showing nulls for you if you don't have any records added there in the data source. That's why you are able to see 28 nulls there in your record. What I will do is I will upload this data source, friends, so that you all can make use of this. I'll upload this data source. So I'm just uploading a file under this module only. I'm saying Hong Kong. I'm uploading this data set, friends, for your reference. You can use this. Okay, friends, I think it should be available for you by tomorrow. So within 1 hour. So it will be available within 1 hour, friends. You can take this data source. Okay. Yeah, the reason for the nulls what you are seeing is you don't have any data there, Kalpana and others. So those who all are having this issue, friends, I have uploaded this data source. You make use of this after this upload is done. Yeah. Okay, friends. So this is what we saw today on this background maps and how to make use of this background maps. Always show entire image, and this is what we saw. It's basically annotating my entire image as points there, and it is showing my X and Y coordinates. Oh, okay. No problem, Shweta. You can use this one, what I have just uploaded. This should be the perfect data set. Okay, for this you should be able to get the image properly. Okay, so this is what basically it is doing. It is taking individual points, it is locating individual points, and it is basically showing us the coordinates for those individual points. So it's basically we are taking the X and Y axis on the coordinates now, and after we take the X and Y axis, we will be able to see the entire image like this. And you can just drop the line and the station name here to the details, and you can see you just change the shape to a full dotted one and change the color to green and this, so that it's looking somewhat similar to the earlier coordinates. So friends, this is what we saw now. So we just got the plots here, and you are able to see the coordinate points plotted over there in the graph with their appropriate X and Y axis. And there are a couple of assignments for you to do, friends, based on the data source, Global Superstore 2016, and you need to create this also. You need to create a custom territory here using a lasso tool. For Asia, you need to create a custom territory to see the detailed view of all the countries there. So with this, we are done with our module 6, friends. Okay. So we'll have a break for 5 minutes and then begin with our module 7, or if you want me to continue, I'm okay to do that. Okay friends, so we will go for a break for 5 minutes and we all will come back again. Yeah? And then we will start with the calculations in this module. So we'll move on for a break. Okay. Friends, actually this Delhi Metro points, whatever we are able to see that, it seems to be like an incorrect data set, friends. So the coordinate points, whatever which was given for Delhi Metro, I think they have not given the right data set there. I will pass on that information. So what you do, the file for what I have uploaded for this Hong Kong Metro, you please use that, friends, and no need to use the Delhi Metro data, because it seems to be the points and the images are not mapped correctly there for the Delhi Metro data. So I'll just inform the Edureka team on this. You can, in the meantime, we make use it using our Hong Kong data. That should come right for you. Yeah. Okay. So we are done with this module 6. Today we will start with the module 7. So module 7 is mostly about the calculations. Yeah, you can use the same file. If that data set is not proper, then there is no point in using that, Shweta. So we will, you use the same Hong Kong data itself for the assignment, and you can just make use of that. I'll inform the Edureka team that the data set seems to be incorrect and the points are not appearing. So I'll see that. If we can change the coordinate points to something different, I'll just see that. Okay. Okay, friends. So not a problem. Now what we will do is we will go to calculation. Okay. So as you all know, calculations are going to be like, we perform some calculations there whenever we were using the parameters and things. I introduced you to something called calculations, wherein which came with the if and else clause and those things came. So for people who are going to start with, these are going to be the fundamental calculations. So what are the basic calculations what we will be seeing here? We will be seeing the number calculations, we will be seeing the string calculations, date calculations, logical calculations and aggregate calculations. So they are basically functions. So each and every calculation is a function which is inbuilt in Tableau. So what you need to do, you need to invoke that function. Like for example, if it is going to be a date part, a date add, you need to add 2 dates. You need to invoke that function first, and you need to pass on some parameters to that function. Okay, so pass on some parameters to that function. So how will you pass parameters to the function? We'll be seeing that in a while. And after we are done with, we'll be seeing something called table calculation, and then we will go to something called level of detail calculation. So the module 7 and 8, friends, are fully about these calculations only. So it is going to be really full of calculations and problems only. It's the module 7 and 8 fully. Okay. So I would recommend you all to please pay attention. And also today I'll share you a couple of links on the calculations. I would like you all to go through those links and come for tomorrow's session, friends, for better understanding. So once you go through that link, you will have a clear understanding on what things are and how it is working. And based on that, you can come prepared for tomorrow's class. Okay. Okay, friends. So first we'll get introduced to the calculations what we are having. Okay. So calculations are nothing but it's like making use of the existing fields in Tableau and performing some basic operations. So it can be like anything there, like adding 2 names, the first name and last name, combining the first name and last name, that can be an example, or adding some numbers together, or multiplying some products. For example, multiplying your profit and adding, taking the difference between your final profit and the discount what you are given, or maybe making use of some calculations altogether. But the calculations what we are seeing over here is, they are more effective and they can perform certain operations really in a better manner. Okay. So I'll show you how to, first we'll get introduced to the numerical calculation, number calculation. Okay. So I'm using the global superstore data set itself for this, friends. I'll use the same data set. So how to create a calculated field? You can down click on this arrow. Can you see here in my screen there is a drop down arrow which you can all see that, and you can click on create a calculated field from here. So as soon as you create that, there should be a window which opens like this, friends. If only you are able to see this window, you please expand it by clicking on this arrow symbol, so that you will be getting an explanation for this calculation also. First, let's get introduced to this number calculation. So, assume that there is a scenario for me. So under this number calculation, friends, there are n number of calculations. What you can see under this number calculations, specifically if you see, there are like ABS, ACOS, ATAN, SEAL. So if you see, for each and every calculation there is an example what they are given. So what this ABS is going to do? It's basically going to show me the absolute value of a given number. So what is the absolute value of a given number? It's going to be -7. Absolute value of -7 would be 7. So basically this absolute value will ignore the negative numbers, and it converts those negative numbers into positive numbers. Likewise, we have ACOS, ATAN. These might be useful for like in basically in advanced calculations where you need to find radians and those things. That point of time these things might be useful. You'll see the mostly used ones among this, and for other things you can basically refer to this example directly. You will be able to see the remaining things directly from here. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an absolute value of my profit. So I know in this data set, is there any negative profits that is available? First I will see that. Okay, I'm saying profit. So let me use a map here. Okay, let me use a map. Maybe I'll use a map for countries first, as it's a global data set, and I'll take my profit and drop my profit onto my color scheme. So as soon as you see, these are the countries which are showing it in the negative profits for me. Okay. Sagar, it's, as you think, technical background may not be always necessary for performing all calculations. If you see, the calculations what we have it in Tableau is very simple, even simpler than Excel calculations, I would say. The reason is, friends, if you just click here, can you all see that there is a number with the examples, everything is given there. So ABS is nothing but, you just read this one, Sagar. ABS returns the absolute value of a given number. So ABS is expanded as absolute value. And if we use that ABS, this is how we need to use. So whenever you need to pass on some fields, I'm sure after you are practicing it once or twice, friends, definitely you will be an expert in this. So only thing that is required is practice alone, Sagar. So you need not worry about anything else here. So I'll show you a simple example now. Whatever examples we'll be seeing a very simple examples only, not complicated one, so that you are not getting understanding of everything. Okay, don't worry about that. So here we saw the profit, and profits are being highlighted currently in negative values. We are able to see that here. So wherever negative values are found, I am able to see those profits there. So instead of this, I just represent this data in a form of a table, and I have some negative values also for Argentina and other countries. I am able to see some negative values that is appearing there. Now, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to use this ABS function. First, I'll create a calculation for that, and I'll make use of that calculation here. So how to do that? I click here, create a calculated field. So this calculation underscore ABS. I'm creating a calculation here. So in this calculated field, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, I'm going to call this function. So how to call this function? If I don't know the name of the function, what I can do, I can just go here, double click this. Automatically this window gets opened for me. So not mandatory that you should know all these by heart. You can just double click here, automatically the ABS comes. And if you see inside this ABS, it is asking you a number to be provided. Because it works only, because it's a numeric calculation, it works only with numbers. So you cannot pass on any other parameters to this other than numbers. So that is one mandatory thing. So here what I am saying, I am taking my number field which is profit. How will you recognize a numeric field from which is hash symbol? So I am saying, I am taking this ABS of profit and I am clicking on OK. And as soon as I create that calculation, where my calculation is there? Calculation ABS. Can you see this? A data type has been assigned directly to this and it's coming directly under my measure. So I'm taking this ABS calculation ABS, I'm dropping it here. Can you see what has happened? Wherever things, whatever things that I have taken there, it has now converted me those values into positive values. Whatever profits, whatever I was seeing there, that profits is no more available, and you can just see this. All values got converted as absolute values there. You can just see that. There are no negative values that is found there. So these calculations are sometimes very useful for us whenever we are displaying those numbers in their absolute form. Okay, so whenever we are doing that in an absolute form, this calculation values are differing there. So you can see a positive values alone here in this list. After making use of our calculation ABS. Similarly friends, so we will go start from very simple examples like this and then we will move on to some more complicated examples as we progress on. Were you all able to get this friends? It is just a very simple way of showing the absolute value of a number. Sagar, did you get this? Okay, Jayashree, Sagar, Kalpana. Okay. So this is a very simple example of performing a calculation. So now we will see some more important calculation functions, how to make use of those. Okay. Next is we will take this one, which is given as example, ceiling of a number. Can you see here, the ceiling, what this function basically does is, it basically rounds the number to its nearest integer or equivalent or a greater value. So, the ceiling of this number, 2.145, so it rounds this value to this next nearest number, which will be equal to or greater than this particular value. So the ceiling of 2.145 will give us a result called 3 there. We'll see if we can take this example and perform some calculations like this. So instead of calculation ABS, let me take some decimal values here. Okay. So I will show you one more calculation here, friends. Let me take this different calculation now. Okay, I'm creating a calculation called profit ratio. In this profit ratio, friends, basically what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take my sum of profit and I'm going to divide that sum of sales. So basically I'm just getting my profit ratio here, friends. So what is the profit and what is the sale? Based on each and every city, I want to have this calculation. Okay, so this profit ratio, I have got it. I'm just adding this in things. Can you see here, friends, what has happened? My profit ratio has been computed now. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to round this value to the next nearest digit there. For that, what I will do, I right click this field. I'm right clicking this profit ratio. What calculation I have created. I'm going to go here, create a calculated field. So I'm going to create a calculation called ceiling here. So what I can do, either I can choose it from this number calculations, I can choose ceiling here, which is available. Can you see here we have a ceiling calculation that is there. Round the number to its nearest integer or equivalent or a greater value. So here what I'm giving, I'm typing something called ceiling. I'm just saying calculation ceiling and I'm saying ceiling of this profit ratio. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add this field also. Can you see here what it has done? The ceiling of my profit ratio, what this has done, it has basically converted the values whatever I'm having here to its next possible integer. So 0.252 is there, it just converted it to 1. 182 is there, converted to 1. Like that, when minus 3.25 is there, it converted to 0. So for everything, it just converted it to 0, and whenever minus 1.503 is there, it converted to minus 1. So it just rounds to this next possible or greater than or equal to that particular number. It just converts it. Okay, that's what it does. You are all getting this, friends, how to make use of this calculation. Okay. So I'm taking very basic calculations here, friends. So people who already know this, it should be easy for you also, and those who do not know, it should not be difficult for you to understand. So I'm keeping those examples very basic level. Huh? Okay. So now we are, similarly, friends, you can also create the other calculation, that is like this power, this round. So now instead of the ceiling, what I will do, I will make use of this round function. You see what it is doing. So instead of the ceiling, what I am going to do, I am going to round this. See what this round is going to do? So what this round is going to do, friends, round the number to its nearest integer or to a specified number of decimal places. So here this 3.1415, comma 1 when I am giving, it just rounded it to 3.1. So similarly, here what I am going to do, I am just going to give round the profit ratio, comma 1, I am just going to give that. I will click on OK. Can you see now what has happened? 0.252 has been rounded as 0.3. 0.182 has been rounded to 0.2. 0.252 has rounded to 0.3 again. So whatever negative numbers are there, that still remains the same, but it just shows it with that. So the same calculation I can use multiple things here. Instead of this, what I will be using, I can make use of something called ABS also. So ABS of round of this particular value, I can make use of multiple calculations within a single calculation also. I'm just going to click on OK. Now can you see all my negative values got vanished? I won't be able to see those negative values anymore. So like this, friends, you can create those calculations. Under my calculation ceilings, I can embed one calculation with another. I can keep one calculation on top of the other. Likewise, I can perform some operation. Okay, friends. So now the next one, what we can see is something called power. See what this power is doing. Power is basically repeating that value n number of times, like 1 into 1. So 5 power 2 if we give, it would be 5 into 5, that is 25. So 5 power 3 when you give, it's like 5 into 5 into 5, 125. 5 power 4, it's like 4 times 5 into 5 into 5, that is 625. Like that, the numbers goes on and on. Okay, so similarly, we have all other calculations. This is something used in radians, rounds. Some of the very important calculations alone I have just shown you. The square we will be using more. It will be, and other than this is max, min, these things we will be using more. Okay friends, you all got how this is done? Okay, so this, all these calculations follow the rule called, most of you should have known this. What is this board mass? Can anyone tell me what this board mass is? Have we all studied this rule, friends? Yeah. So, how about others, friends? Samir is saying yes. How about others? I'm not sure on what background you are all from, but I think this is at the school level, everyone should have studied this. Correct. So here, in school I can't remember. Okay. No problem, Sagar. You can just refresh that now. So board mass is bracket. Bracket. This is of. This is division. This is multiplication, this is addition, and final this is subtraction. So this is how generally Tableau evaluates this friend. Okay. So whenever you are writing some calculations, for example, assume that you are writing a calculation like this. I am saying 5 divided by 4, I am having one bracket, multiplied by 4, here I have one more bracket, multiplied by 4, and then you subtract 2 from this result and then add 5 to this result. Assume that I have written a calculation something like this. So how will this calculation be evaluated? That is based on this rule only. This bracket of division, multiplication, addition and subtraction. First it will see the brackets where we are having. So that's what this bracket of is given. And inside the brackets, whatever items are there, it just evaluates in this order. First it looks for division. So 5 divided by 4 is around 1.1 you assume. So next what happens, first step would be here, 5 divided by 4 would be my first step, which is, I am assuming it to be 1.1 for now. No, not 1.1, it will be 1.2, okay, 2.5 something. So next what we do, 1.25 to be precise. So this is the result. Now first my division will be performed. So according to this, first my division will be performed. Next would be my multiplication will be performed. So with this result 1.25, my multiplication will be performed, that is 4. So what is 1.25 into 4? Which is 5. Right? So 1.25 into 4 would be 5 here. Okay. So I am done with this 1.25. Now my multiplication is done. Next comes my addition. So what is my addition here? Minus 2 plus 5. So what is minus 2 plus 5? Minus 2 plus 5, which is going to be plus 3, right? It's going to be plus 3. Now what it does, it takes this result 5 and it adds 3 to that and it gives me a result 8. So according to this Boardman's rule, friends, first my division would be taken. After performing the division, multiplication would be done. After performing my multiplication, addition will be done, and then finally subtraction would be done. Since here we don't have anything to subtract, after doing the addition, the result is added. Minus 2 plus 5 is basically plus 3. And we are adding 3 and 5 here. So this is how generally in any calculation, this is what the rule that is followed. Are you all getting this calculation, friends, this board mass rule? Everyone? Is this clear, friends? Everyone? Okay. Okay, friends. So this is what the calculation that has been followed in Tableau also. It uses the same rules for whenever you are having brackets and things, and whenever you are trying to perform some calculations or things. This is the rule that is performed. Okay. Now we will see an example for this problem. You need to solve this problem for me. Can you all perform this calculation, friends? I want to see a report after removing the discount offered from profit for different shipping modes of the product. I'm giving you a 3 minutes time, friends. It should not take more time for you to do this. Can you all do this calculation? Okay, friends. So most of you have done the calculations there. Let me just show that how to perform this calculation. Okay. Thank you, friends. So let's see how to do this calculation. See here, what we are doing, we just take two values. One is the profit and discount. Either we can take the difference between the profit and discount directly, if it is had to be taken as the individual rows. So this is how we need to perform the calculations for this. So how to do this? I'm just showing that to you. Take the profit value. So I'm just editing my existing calculation, didn't want to create something new. So here what I'm doing, calculation profit. I'm taking two fields from friends. I'm taking one is product. I'm taking sum of sales One is sum of sales, what I am taking. The next one what I am taking is sum of profit. So here what I am going to do is I am going to take the difference between my sum of sales and my sum of profits. So I'm just making this calculation name as profit. I'm clicking on OK. And can you see now this is my sum of sales value. I'm just dropping this field, sales. This is the profit value. So can you see now? My calculation profit would be difference between my sales and profit. This would be my calculation profit. So for individual rows, you will be able to verify that, and you can just see that in this view. This is clear, and it's very simple calculations what we can perform. Similar to division, multiplication also you can perform with the same values. Please stop me if you have any questions or doubts anywhere. Okay. And if you are all done, we'll wrap up with this string function. We'll be taking it at last, so we'll wrap up with the string calculation. Okay. So similar to our profitability and the numeric calculations, we have something called string calculations that is available in Tableau. Okay. So what are the string calculations and how to make use of this string calculation? So string calculations are nothing but, friends, the ones what you are going to perform with the non-numeric data sets. That is the ones what you are going to perform with the normal string data types, which are going to be categorical in nature, and mostly it would be discrete also according to Tableau for us. Okay. So some of the string calculations we can see it here. Okay. So profit versus discount here you are saying. So either this same calculation can be performed without sum also, friends. So see here Shweta has a question, why we need a sum here? Okay. So sum is required. From the question if you see, I think according to the question what they had answered, the solution they have proposed is just deducting those two values, sum of profit minus sum of discount directly. They just subtracted the values directly. So here what I did is I just took it as a sum data. So basically what they have done is, I'll show you the same example there. Without using sum, how these results are. Okay, I'm just taking sales minus profit. I'm just removing this for now. Can you see here what it has done? So here, if I'm not taking the sum here, friends, this is one and the same there. By default, Tableau aggregates the data, that you all know that. Here I haven't aggregated that sales minus profit, I just took it as it is. Can you see here, Shweta, the calculation is one and the same, irrespective of if it is sum or without sum, both are one and the same here. There is no difference between both. Yeah. So the reason for the sum is nothing but friends, automatically the aggregation would happen there. So specifically I showed you with sum because as you all know, when a Tableau is performing things, it will aggregate it by default. But when we are manually creating calculations, if we are not giving aggregations also, it will aggregate it. So that's why we are saying that. Okay, so these are some of the examples of the string calculations, friends. So like, see, some of the string calculations are like length. LEN is for finding the length of a string. LTrim is used for removing any spaces in the string. For example, there you can see here in this place where I'm just showing it in my pointer. This place it has a string value there, a blank space there. So this LTrim basically removes that spacing. And similarly, there is replace function which is there. Replace, what it is going to do, it is going to replace a particular value with a different value there. So green, blue, green, if you see, the blue is going to get replaced with red. So where blue is there, it will get replaced with red. So that's what it is doing. It is basically taking the letter blue and replacing it with the letter red. And upper, as you might know, it is basically going to convert it into an upper string or a lower string. That's what this upper is going to do. Okay, friends. So if you all are okay with this, I'm going to ask you a question now. Tell me which calculation I can use to find out this result. So first I'll show you some string calculations. So the string calculations are something like this, friends. Okay. I'll clear the sheet off. So my string calculations are going to be here. So these are some of the string calculations. You just go through all the string calculations and let me know what string calculation I can use to answer that question. Can you tell me what calculation I can use to answer this question? Okay. Manikandan is saying can we use contains? No, friends. What we can use? Jayashree is saying substring. How about you, Sagar? Others? Kalpana, Sagar? Okay. LTrim. Okay. LTrim is for removing the space trim. So Kalpana here, replace is going to be used for replacing a particular string with one another. Here, what we need to know is we need to see if one particular value is found there from the calculation. So the most appropriate thing what we can use here is when it would be contained. So we will make use of something called contains here. So contains is a calculation what we can make use here. I will show you how to use that. So what is my question? First, let's understand the question. The question is find out the string which contains the value city in that. Find out all the city names by the, and also its discount which has a name called city in that. Okay. So what I'm going to say, I'm going to write a function called contain, and inside the content if you see, this is the example. So in the example what you are seeing, calculation is there, and inside this calculation, it basically, this function returns true or false only. So I'm basically saying contains is going to validate, returns true if my string contains this substring. So if my city value contains this particular substring city, if my string, if my city has a value inside that called city, then it's basically going to return me true. So I haven't explained to you on the Boolean calculations when we started with this, friends. We started with all other data types. Except Boolean, I didn't tell you. This Boolean, now you see what happens. Calculation strings I have created. Inside this contains, I have given it as city. Okay. And can you see now where my calculation string is there? Where my calculation string comes and sits. Can you see here? What is the data type of this? It is coming as T/F, which means it is basically taken as a Boolean calculation. Okay. So what is Boolean calculation going to do? It is basically going to tell me I'm going to take a field city and I'm going to take a discount based on those cities. Either I will represent this data in a table. Okay. See here, what is the discount offered for each and every city I am taking? Now what I will do, I will take this calculation string and drop it in my filters. Can you see here? Three values are coming. One is true, the other one is false, and the other one is null. I am saying I want true only, I am clicking on apply now. Can you see now? In my city names, all values whichever have city in that, those cities discount alone got displayed for me. That city's discount alone got displayed for me. So what did I do in this calculation? I just chose this calculation to be as contains. So under string calculations I went here, I chose something called contains from this. You can use more than one also, like this find also you can just say. So, but you might have to perform some operations here. So it is basically going to return the position of the substring there, find or find with, or left we can use. So basically here left or right or length, anything you can use, but not mandatory that this is the easiest way to get the result. You can use more than one calculation also, but this is the easiest way to use it. So these are something like regular expression patterns what we have. So this is like regular expression patterns what you can use. These are basically very useful when you are performing advanced calculations. These regular expressions and things, they are very much useful for us. Like this, you can make use of other calculations also. Are you all clear with this, friends? I'm sorry I have exceeded a few more minutes time. So are you all clear with this concept? Any questions? Okay. Sagar, I hope you are clear with this as well. So with this, we will stop it here, friends. I told you I will be sharing you a link. So friends, I will want you all to come ready with after reading this link there. Okay. So I will share you a link for some calculations and some LODs. Yeah, Sagar. Mostly you will be able to get it as you practice more, because so for the first time it might be difficult, but as and when you practice more and more on this, it would be, you will be an expert soon. Don't worry about that. Okay. So I'll share you a link, friends. This is the link, creating efficient calculation. See, you just have a look at all these calculations, friends, and you just have a look at this also, this link also, what I just pinged you now. And we will see about these concepts in later part. Tomorrow we will cover these things. Okay. And before that, I want you all to make sure that you are at least somewhat familiar with these things. Okay. So this link and this link. Okay. So table calculations also, I would like you all to see that. We will see about these calculations on tomorrow's session in detail, but for now I want you all to have this. Okay, friends, and I think we are all done for today. So, thank you all, and please share me your feedback on anything which you haven't got it during the class itself, so that it's easy for us to clarify then and there. Okay, friends. See you all. You all have a great day there. See you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Shweta, Sagar, Samir, Prashakti, Shantini, Hasini, Jayashri, Kalpana, Love, Lopita. See you, everyone. You all have a great day there. See you, Manigandan. See you, everyone. You all have a great day there. See you. Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.